Welcome to the Not Just Waiting podcast. I'm your host, Reanna Hoffman, and this is a space for women learning to wait well and live fully. Whether you're in the middle of uncertainty, transition, or just figuring out what's next, this podcast is here to remind you you are not behind, not forgotten, and definitely not just waiting. Let's dig into truth, grow in courage, and hold on to hope together. Hey friends, welcome back to the Not Just Waiting podcast. This week's guest is Amy Hancock. Amy is a wife, mom, and encourager who knows firsthand what it means to be brought back to a delighted life in Christ. With a master's in counseling, a certification in Christian life coaching, and years of mentoring experience, Amy helps women reconnect with their God-given gifts and rediscover joy in every season. She's passionate about helping women fight defeat with delight, learning to love their everyday, ordinary lives again. At home, you'll find her surrounded by her 2 teenagers, a lovable doodle dog, and her husband who keeps life full of laughter and grace. Let's dive in. Hey friends, welcome back to the Not Just Waiting podcast. I have Amy Hancock on today, and I am just so excited to introduce you guys to her. I look at all of her content, and we've met in person, I'm pretty sure, because we were coaches together the same year.
Yeah.
And I've done her journaling class, and it was like mind-blowing or mind-quietening, whatever. Either way, it made my brain do the things. And then she has she has a Facebook group. Is it Everyday Delighted? Is that what we stuck with?
It is the Made for Meaning Collective.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I'll link that below because I just go through it every day. And yesterday she posted a thing, and I was like, oh, I'm going to jump in. So that's fun. And then you have a newsletter.
Yes, that is Everyday Delighted.
That's Everyday Delighted. I'm like, one of them is Everyday Delighted because you're the
Yes.
queen of delight.
Yes.
So, Amy, we've learned a little bit about you in your bio, but can you tell us can you give us like a brief overview of your day? Like what a day might look like?
What a day might look like. Oh gosh, every day is different. I am the mom of 2 teenagers. And so typically my day starts pretty early, getting people up and out the door and to school. They're at 2 different schools. And so my morning and my afternoon are all kid. And then during the week, it just kind of depends. Sometimes it is therapy and writing and errand running and housekeeping and homekeeping. And so it varies a little bit, but most of my days are bookend with my kids and family and my husband.
Yeah. I think that resembles a lot of people's lives though.
Right.
Like,
yes.
Even we don't have small people, but even in the morning, like I have to do this, and this before Philip leaves.
Mhm.
And then when he gets home, I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with all the stuff I was working on, even if I wasn't done. And so I think that resembles a lot of people's lives. But how do you make space for rest, for creativity, and time with God in your daily life? Because you've got bookends, and then everything in the middle changes.
Right.
So how do you have like a consistent?
I was thinking about this yesterday when I looked at it, and I was like, one of the things that I do, because I'm not in a season where I'm in a Bible study or anything like that. So I usually pick a scripture a week and just focus on that. That is something that just kind of keeps me rooted and grounded with the Lord. And he kind of talks to me in themes. So we're on like a hope theme right now. And so I just look up hope scriptures and meditate on those, put them around my house, those types of things. As far as rest goes, I'm an introvert by nature. And so I'm at home a lot by myself during the day. But one of real intentional things I do is I try to have 15 to 20 minutes of quiet before I go pick up my kids. Because once they get in the car, it's loud house and loud music and arguing and all the things and going. I know I need just those few minutes to I mentally prepare myself for getting back into lots of people around. And then for creativity, one of the things that I decided to do in January, instead of setting goals, is I decided I wanted to learn something this year. And so I picked three things that I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn how to make vanilla extract, watercolor, and plant zinnias. And so those are kind of where I've let my creativity um, be. And so I learned I learned vanilla in January, and I planted zinnias this summer and forgot to tell my lawn guy, and he mowed them all down. So we're like, we will try again. So, and watercoloring is still waiting for me. So I tend to be a creative person by nature, but I'm also not trying to collect hobbies. And so this has been a good, like, little boundary.
I love that so much. I love that so much because I'm one of those that has a really hard time setting like goals and resolutions or whatever they're called. See, I don't
Right.
even know what they're called because I don't do them. I love the idea of starting to learn new things because there's things that I don't know and I realize I don't know them all the time. And you
Right.
picked three things that are very attainable. It's not like I'm going to learn how to code and do this, that, and the other. That's what my
Right.
husband does. And he explains it to me and it goes in one ear and out the other. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I love how you made that thing move with your
Right.
zeros and ones. Cool. But like vanilla extract, it's pretty easy. And then
It is really
zinnias
easy.
are really easy when your lawn boy doesn't cut them down. That's so sad to me because I've tried to plant zinnias this year too, and I have a side yard behind me, and one of them blew over this past Sunday because we were on a wind warning, and
Uh-huh.
we get home from church, and I'm like, "Oh no, my flower blew over." And my husband's like, "It's okay." And so I go in to start lunch, and he finds his little string because his new hobby is learning how to sew. And so he goes and gets his thread
Oh,
and a
that's
stick
cool.
and goes to like set my flower, and it's not working and isn't working, but he spent 30 minutes on it. And I'm like, "What if we just repot it?" And so that
Yeah.
was our extravaganza with zinnias so far. But I
Yeah. I'm going
love,
to try pots next year because I
yeah.
did them along the fence line and they were starting to bloom, and I'm sure they look like every other weed out there. So, or not bloom, like just grow because I
Yeah.
did it from seed. So, yeah. But
That's so sad. I can't wait to see your zinnia garden next year, and I can't wait to
you're
see what
right.
you create with watercolor because that's also really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a
Like,
book that I'm going to try. So,
that's
there won't
exciting.
be any like freehand stuff.
That's really, really exciting. When did you realize that you let me back up. In my brain, I have you in a category of things that you're really good at.
Okay.
And every time that I see somebody that needs X thing, I'm like, Amy can do that. I didn't tell you this. So I'm curious, when did you first realize you had this gift or calling and what helped you take it seriously? I'm curious to see if the calling I think you have and the calling you think you have are the same.
I'm too. That's intriguing. Um, so it's a really interesting journey. So when I was 25-ish, um, I had my master's in counseling. I decided about I was an internship and a test away from being a licensed professional counselor and decided I did not want to work in mental health. And so I gave that up, went and worked in higher education. And so I was an academic advisor for quite some time. And I wasn't loving my job. And I was looking for a rescue, I think. And so I was applying for all kinds of different positions. I worked in campus ministry when I was in college. And so I went to apply with InterVarsity Campus Ministry, went to one of their camps in Texas to like meet and the counselors and the workers and see if that's something I wanted to pursue, being working for them in campus ministry. And one of the teachings that they did for these college students was the story of Barnabas and Paul. And I remember sitting there thinking, I'm a Barnabas. I'm a come alongside people person. I was not in a church that talked about spiritual gifts at that time. But I remember like the Lord depositing into me, like, you are an encourager, you're a Barnabas. And so fast forward, they send me a letter that says you're not a good fit. And I am like ripping up a letter in my kitchen. I wasn't married. And I was so heartbroken because I really wanted rescue from my job. I think more than I really wanted to be in campus ministry. But the Lord used that like dashed dream to deposit in me the gift He had given me. Then fast forward a few more years, became involved in a church that was very much Word and Holy Spirit, and learned about spiritual gifts. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I have a spiritual gift of encouragement, discernment, giving, hospitality. And then, and so those kind of have been like the bedrock of giftings and how I've operated and known that those are my giftings. And then I think, you kind of like, those are your giftings, but then you're still trying to put a round peg in a square opening. And I kept doing that over and over and over again through different, at this point, let's see, I got married late. I was 36 when I got married. We had kids at 39. Um, and so through like infertility and foster care and leaving a job and all of those things, being a stay-at-home mom, a side hustle that I did for a long time, I realized that like I was trying to make jobs fit my giftings instead of my giftings work in my jobs, if that makes sense. And
Mhm.
so it honestly, like all the pieces really fell into place about a year ago, honestly, a year and a half ago. Like this idea that I can use my gifts no matter the season, that they don't have to look a certain way. And then, and again, through another disappointment where the Lord said, I want you to put aside one-on-one coaching because I have kids that really needed me. One of my kiddos in particular needs a lot of extra support right now. And I didn't have the emotional capacity to be engaged in one-on-one coaching and then come home and have capacity for my kids. And so I felt like the Lord was like, I want you to pause this. I call it the obedient pause. And it is still paused. I thought it was going to be like a 3-month thing. And I'm almost at a year of that pause and we're still paused, but still using my giftings. And so, I felt like the Lord was like, you can have hospitality across the hall. Like it. And so that's what I jokingly call it. Is like, sometimes my gifting is the people at my dinner table, and sometimes it's the people in my Facebook group and on my newsletter, or the girlfriend I have coffee with. It's not overseas, and sometimes it's across the street, if a real life neighbor needs me, but it looks very simple right now. And I feel like that's also the message the Lord has given me, is like, and here are the breadcrumbs of how you've used this gifting your whole life. And it's going to look different in every season. And like, can you go share that with them? And so I hope that answered your question.
It did, and it very much mirrored what I see in you and how you interact with the social media community because we don't live in the same town. I kinda wish we did.
No. Yeah.
But I love that you're making a lot of times we as women see that we have to do big things and we have to, like, go viral on social media, or we have to be the house that has everything put together and our house looks like a Better Homes and Gardens magazine, and
Right.
hospitality only counts if you have 2 entrees and 15 sides.
Right.
And that's not at all what real hospitality looks like. People can't actually do that on a real life basis and have a real life. And so you're getting to show us how to use our giftings in the small, tangible, mundane, everyday
Right.
life that everybody can attain because everybody lives the same. Everybody washes clothes. Everybody loads their dishwasher. Everybody interacts with people on a weekly basis. But everybody doesn't have the ginormous coffee table and the baseboards that are perfectly clean and the front of your house that looks like it's out of a magazine. But everybody lives somewhere, whether it's a house or
Right.
an apartment or
Absolutely.
in a basement. Like everybody has space that they live that they can share with people. They have giftings that they can share with people. And I loved how you shared that you've had these giftings your entire life and you just figured out how to use them in the
Yes.
correct way. You were talking about putting a square thing in a round hole. And I'm like, I feel that. I feel that on a real level because we try to make ourselves fit in places we're not supposed to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I just wish we could figure it out sooner of like, oh, that that doesn't match. And here's why
Right.
that doesn't match.
Yes. I wish I'd had somebody when I was like learning about giftings tell me it didn't have to look a certain way,
Yeah.
and like, and I think even in like church culture too, like we have an expectation that our gifts look a certain way, and a lot of that we do to ourselves, and and a lot of it is the messages we receive and how we process that, and a lot of it is self-inflicted as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So we talked about you having a Facebook group. You didn't start with a Facebook group. You grew it into a Facebook group. So you have a platform that people listen to. Me being one of those people. Me being one of those people. If nobody else
Yes.
looks at your stuff, I do. So, what has God taught you about managing your platform and your influence with open hands?
Um, that's it. I was thinking about that last night. I was like, Lord, what are you showing me in this season? And I think one is I always want to show up as myself. Like the Amy that you see right now and the Amy that you see in a Facebook group and on the Instagram story is the Amy you're going to see in real person. I probably will be a little bit more quiet in person. Um, it's so funny. Like I will meet people who are like, "Oh, I watch your stories all the time." And I'm like, I know I'm kind of a ham. And in real life, I'm like, I'm kind of a wallflower. And so, um, which I don't understand that, but it is true.
Hey, it's me interrupting me again. If you've ever felt like you're waiting on God for something, an answer, a direction, a next step, you don't have to wait alone. We just launched the Take Courage Club. The Take Courage Club is our private Facebook community for not just waiting listeners. This is a space to grow in faith, find community, and connect with women who are walking through the same in between seasons. Come join us. Just search Take Courage Club on Facebook or click the link in our show notes. We cannot wait to see you there.
So I think for me, it's a balance between not like verbally throwing up on people because we are in a hard season of parenting right now. And at the same time, showing up authentically as myself and that showing people that you can hold both, like you can hold delight and you can hold disappointment all at the same time, that you can have joy while you're waiting for big prayers to be answered. So I think for me, it's more about not trying to look a certain way on social media. I mean, I show up half the time without makeup on, like I just try to be as authentic as I can while protecting the stories of people that need protecting, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
it
yeah.
does. I love your stories. They make me happy.
Yeah.
So, you were talking about being in a waiting season. The podcast is called Not Just Waiting. So, we
Right.
talk about active waiting instead of passive waiting, and we have determined that passive waiting for Reanna is sitting on her couch with gluten-free cookies watching Netflix. And
Uh-huh.
that there is a time and a place for it, but I
Right.
shouldn't be sitting on my couch watching entire seasons of things.
Right.
So, how are you waiting well in your current season? What does that look like for us?
I think that for me, like, it really looks like, well, two things. I think it means that I ask the Lord for what expectations I should have instead of creating them myself. Um, and and like I know I'm like a doer. I like to do things. I like to create things. And so when the Lord said, "I want you to pause this piece of your coaching," I was like, "Okay, but what am I going to do?" Because like that was taking a lot of energy and time and networking and all the things. And And so I felt like meeting with the Lord, he was able to say, okay, these are yeses and these are nos right now. And so I think waiting, we can still have purpose and meaning and waiting and still have things to do in waiting. Like we can still get to use our gifts. Again, it just looks different. Like I'm not out networking. I'm not going to luncheons and promoting my business anymore. But what I am doing is meeting with one girlfriend that we both have a similar parenting journey right now, and we just encourage each other like every other week. Like that is what active waiting is. And for me. And then also, I just heard this like a few weeks ago, and I just keep asking Lord, like, Lord, where are you working? Where are you working? And let me go work with you there. Like, where are you working? Show me where you're working. I want to partner with you where you're working. And so that that's a lot about what I've been doing right now. I've also been reading about prayer and hope and how to pray big prayers and also surrender the outcome of those prayers and my expectations of time and when they should happen and how it should happen, but still trusting the Lord with hope and prayer. That for me is what it actively looks like. And then there are days when like I keep Monday as a day. Monday and like Wednesday mornings are kind of my days that like I try not to schedule appointments. I do things around my house. A couple of weeks ago, it was full permission to watch every episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty. I mean, like, just decompress, but that doesn't happen every week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a random question that I
Sure.
didn't prep you for. How do you find delight in the things that you find delight in? Like, context, I have a really hard time finding things to delight in. It is not my strong suit, it's not my gifting. It takes time, effort, and energy for me. So, how do you do it even in the middle of disappointment?
I, I was looking back through my Instagram last night because I was like, where did this idea come to me of like asking women to delight in their everyday lives? And I realized it came from this concept that it's okay to like things. And like the Lord isn't bothered by us liking things. And he's not disappointed that I really like good pens. Like, um, and so I think we made gratitude complicated sometimes. And so I think the Lord has deposited in us things that we like because they reflect him. And so I think that that's where it started, was that it's okay to like things. It's okay to have favorite things and not, I mean, like, I love when women share their gift guides at Christmas. I'm also a giver and I like giving people gifts. But I think even if you take, like, I don't want to promote like consumerism, but like, it's okay to really enjoy sunsets and sunrises. And it's really okay to, um, like queso and chips. Like, and those reflect the goodness of God in the land of the living. And so I think that that for me is where it came from, was realizing that when I was, I think the spirograph, which is, if you know what a spirograph is, it was a gift. It was like a art system that came out in the 70s. I remember it was my very favorite Christmas gift. And if I look at that and then I trace like sitting with my grandmother at her dining room table with old bank registers and writing things, like the Lord has put those little things in me since I was little bitty, loving pen to paper. And for me, like, yeah, I am a writer and I do write, but it's also little breadcrumbs of like God's goodness in my life from little bitty to 54. Yeah. And, so that's where I think it started. And then I think also, I think scripturally it says, mourn with those who mourn and be joyful with those who are joyful. We live in a very both and kingdom of God on earth. And I always say on this side of heaven, there's going to be heartache and there's going to be joy. And we're going to have to choose to fight our defeat with delight. And because otherwise, I think it also comes from my generation. I'm a Gen X. We're a very cynical generation. We, pride ourselves in like self-sufficiency and wild independence. And we did it, why can't you? And I thought, what a crummy way to live. Like, and so I think a root of it is also fighting that cynicism that is so easy to partake in. And I'm like, oh gosh, that's just strong arming joy. I choose cynicism. So that's kind of where it's rooted in. And like, this morning was not a great parenting morning, but I was like, you know what? We threw some whimsy in and I trimmed my own hair and I got to be on my first podcast, and there's a cool breeze outside in Oklahoma today. Like fall has finally come, like I can hold both. And so I think it is. And that also came through adopting children. Also, this kind of both and that like it is both a joy and a heartbreak. Adoption is. And so it has threads in a lot of different places that kind of have come to this place where I love helping women kind of notice delight in their everyday life. So I hope that answered your question.
It did, and it's so good, and it helps people like me understand that you can hold both, because my parents are Gen Xers. Well, one of them's a boomer. I don't really know what the difference is. I grew up in the Deep South, so I claim that I'm a millennial, but I'm actually not. So it just gets complicated. But I definitely hold fast to those, I can do it myself, and I don't need anybody's help. And, well, of course I can't like that. It costs this much money. And so when you said it's okay to like things, I was like, it is okay to like things. Like Reanna over here is down to one pair of jeans because
Okay.
Reanna has very thick thighs. And so I'm down to one pair of jeans. And my sweet little husband, who is very small and can order jeans offline from Old Navy and they fit, he's like, just order some jeans. And I'm like, that takes me effort and energy. But there is a specific brand of jean that I like, but I'm scared to like them because they cost too much money. And so when you said it's okay to like things, and not only am I liking things, it's like a necessity. You have to wear pants in public.
Yeah, you have to wear pants. Yeah.
You have to wear pants in public. It's a necessity. And so I think you letting us have delight and disappointment in the same vein. A lot of times we think that we can only have one or we can only hold one. And a lot of times the disappointment always takes over the delight. Like you could have the best day ever and your spouse say something right before you get in the bed and the day of things ruined. It's ruined. The whole day is ruined. You could have had chocolate cake for breakfast and the whole day was ruined because he said one thing. And so I love that you're teaching us online, even though it's not what you thought, it wasn't your plan, but you're teaching us to hold delight and disappointment at the same time. And so that's very freeing for people like me who are like, am I allowed to like the jeans that are necessary for me to go into public?
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you wanted to share with us today?
I can't think of anything. I had a thought and then the thought left, so I guess I don't. So I really appreciate you having me on. This has been fun.
Well, thank you for jumping on with us. You were one of my favorite people to watch on social media. Again, I wish we lived in the same space. I am going to link your Facebook group and anything else you told me to link later, because I need you guys to follow Amy on social media because she posts really good stuff, like multiple times a day, or at least it comes through my thing multiple times a day.
Yeah.
You really should go watch her stories. I'm not one of those people that likes to watch people talking on their stories, but I always stop and watch Amy. Like always, 100% of the time. But it has been a joy and a privilege. I'm sure we will have you back. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Friends, we will see you next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Not Just Waiting podcast. I hope today reminded you that even in the in-between, God is working, and you are not alone. If this episode encouraged you, would you share it with a friend? And don't forget to hit follow so you never miss a moment of truth, hope, and real conversation. You can find me on Instagram at reanna.ivy.hoff and join the community over on Substack for deeper reflections and weekly encouragement. Until next time, take heart, friend. God is in the waiting with you.